Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the review for Twenties as far as the second episode is concerned. So, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this review. So, this episode started out with Hattie and her friends actually like on the premises where the different stages are where she's gonna work. And so they're talking, and Marie actually starts filling Hattie in on how she needs to be careful because Ida B has a way with getting overly obsessed with people, and she'll fly them out and spend all this ridiculous time with them, do the absolute most. Then she becomes bored and tosses them by the wayside. And then she became so dramatic about the last person that this apparently happened to that she was like, she almost committed suicide. And then Hattie was like, that girl went home. I was like, okay. She was like, well, same thing. Anyway, y'all, so she has to find her way around, and so she's thinking that she's on the right path, and she's not. She's actually going the wrong way. But anyway, she eventually goes to get her ID done, and she's doing the most. Because I was like, what is she doing? She's doing all these poses, and like the security guard is like taking all these pictures of her. She finally settles on what she thinks looks good as far as she's concerned, and he printed it off, and he was like, well, I wasn't taking no more pictures after this anyway. So she ends up going to the office, and the white chipper girl that she ended up hiring was the same white woman that was at the birthday gathering. And I was just like, that makes sense, and it does not surprise me. So anyway, if I'm not mistaken, because at first I thought that the person who she sees in the office is one of her friends. Apparently it's this girl named Courtney. Now, I might have this wrong. I'm going to go back and see. But her name is Courtney, and she's there. For some reason, I thought she was one of the friends, but she's not. She went in the office, and she's talking to her. And she was like, look, you need to be on your P's and Q's. And Ida B actually came in, said good morning to everybody or whatever. They said good morning back. And eventually, she asked Hattie what was she doing. And she was like, nothing. I'm waiting on somebody to tell me what to do. And so she was like, that's your first mistake. So then she took it upon herself to ask, well, what do you want to drink as far as coffee or something like that is concerned? So she gave her coffee order. Specifically, she has to have almond milk because she's allergic. And so she made a joke, but not really. And it's actually the truth, like real life. She said something about how, well, that's good because the milk is the devil and all this other stuff. And so she was, kind of here for that response. She was like, yeah, you're right. So I was like, oh, I thought she was going to read, but yeah. So she was here for that response, y'all. So she ends up going around the office asking all of the different writers what they wanted to drink. So then she gets back to the area that she was going to sit down in. Old girl Courtney pulls out a typed up list of everybody's orders. And so she was like, what's this? And she was like, this is everybody's order. And she was like, why you have me running around here like this if you already knew that this is what it was going to be? Because apparently they order the exact same thing every day. So she was like, well, I just felt the need to just type it up because she'd been doing that before Hattie got there. So she knew what it was. So she was like, well, they're going to want the same thing every day. I might as well go ahead and type this up and go on by my business. And she actually knew how it was to the point where she was like, well, I'm going to just go ahead and make the run. So by the time everybody get here, their coffee and lattes and all the other stuff they drink will already be here waiting on them. So anyway, she asking her, what are you doing? And so she was like, oh, well, I'm about to go do this, whatever, y'all. She actually went to go and get the coffee. She went to the place, and the barista looking at her like, because she over here like, sprinkle this on here like that, and shake this like that, and mix this around like that. Like, they have this moment completely silent, but you could tell that that's what she's saying, and the motions. Everything that she's doing is like, wow, you're doing the most. And he really was looking at her like, girl, you want too much in your life. So anyway, she's on the phone with one of the best friends, and they're talking. And so she was like, well, I gotta go because all the orders came up, and it's a lot of stuff, like a lot. So she turns around with everything in her hand, almost knock everything over. I just expected her anyway, before they even showed that scene, to just knock everything out of her own hand and mess it all up and be late and all this other stuff. But luckily she didn't. So there was this other girl that worked there. I don't know if she's just a table buster or wash dishes, or if she's a barista as well, but she was in there. And she introduced herself as, I'm trying to think, was it Arlene? I don't know. I don't remember what her name was. Did I write it? Adina. I knew it started with an A. But I'm thinking that she is a lesbian or some part of the LBGT community, and she went on ahead and she was kind of helping her to make sure that, you know, everything wasn't spilled. She was like, oh, you must work on the set and all this other stuff. You must work on the lot. And so she was like, yeah, I'm new. She was like, oh, I could tell. And so she was like, oh, I'm Adina, by the way. And so she looking at her like, went on by her business, because she ain't trying to be late. She opened the door for her and everything. And I'm like, okay, I feel like she want her, but old girl is not into nothing right now because she's trying to stay focused on her work and she ain't seeing nothing. And then old girl, she's like not like feminine, at least from what I can tell. So I don't know if she's one of those that is into the feminine type of lesbian or sexually fluid woman, but she doesn't really fit that stereotype. So I'm thinking that every single day eventually is going to get to a point where she's going to see her, and maybe one day she's going to bust up and have on the outfit that she thinks she's supposed to have on, or she really will see her for who she's supposed to be. But I think what's going to happen is either she's going to get with Ida B. Okay, this is what I think right now. Maybe she's going to get with Ida B on the low, do some things with Ida B once she realizes that this heifer, whose name is Lorraine, that was the person's name in the first episode, that she's just screwing, who is a random straight woman who ain't here for her like that, and she's just enjoying the sexual situation that's going on currently. I feel like she's gonna get with Ida B. Ida B gonna do what she normally do, because you can tell already that she is infatuated a little bit with her, and like she not necessarily is picking with her, but you know, she really trying to push her buttons just a little bit to see, you know, what kind of reaction she gonna get out of her. Y'all, I think she gonna deal with her. That's gonna go wrong. She gonna be in her feelings, and then she gonna get with old girl Adina. Or Ida B gonna try to pursue her. She gonna keep it strictly professional. Then she gonna see old girl, finally see old girl for who she's supposed to see her for, and be completely done with Lorraine, and they gonna end up being a good couple, because she actually is a part of the LGBT community. And it's like, girl, get with somebody who really is gonna be here for you. You apparently have a lot to give, even though you haven't been doing what you need to do as far as getting your life together. She seems to be getting her life in order now, but I'm just saying, I can see the potential in people. So that's what I'm trying to say, y'all. Anyway, so Marie is talking to Nia and just walking and talking, and her mama calls her. Her mama is a compulsive gambler. Like, she's really bad. It got to the point where she was like, I need you to run me $5,000. I'm at this table and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make it big. And so she's looking at her like, no matter what you do, even if you do hit it, you still gonna be in the same position that you're in. Her mama had the nerve to be like, well, I gave you this, I took you and spent that much money on a trip for you when you were 12 or however old she said she was, to go to Disney World. I'm like, first of all, it's your child, and that's your choice. Didn't nobody tell you had to take her to Disney World? That's nice and all, but you are her mama, so what's wrong with y'all going on a vacation? Whatever. Anyway, y'all. So Nia was talking to her, and she was like, don't worry about it, girl. I got messed up mama problems too, and they hugged it out. So we learned that Nia actually is a yoga instructor, and she was going to be on her way to do that. Because I was wondering, I'm like, well, is everybody doing the same thing or not? No, she's a yoga instructor. So anyway, Nia is, yeah. Okay, so before we get to Nia, because I was like, I feel like I'm skipping over something than I was. Y'all, so Marie is not taken seriously at her job. She has been told to get certain celebrities to agree to do movies that are based on certain things, and she ain't here for it. And one of them was like a degrading kind of situation, and she was just like, yeah, I did talk to their representative and they're passing on it. And the guy who was at the dinner, who I felt like he was gay, but apparently I'm all the way wrong. I'm guessing he's the guy who had the random white girlfriend, that they like to say, the random white woman. So he's talking to her before the person over them comes in, and she was just like, they look at you differently, and they just feel like because you're the only black man here that what you say is gold, even though you have no clue about black women and all this other stuff. And I'm confused. See, that's why I was confused, because I'm like, one minute I must be hearing it wrong, because one minute it seems like she's saying that he's gay, and then the next minute, I don't know if I'm hearing it right. I thought that they said that the white woman was the girlfriend, because she was saying something about like, what would you know about a woman's vagina or something like that, because it has something to do with something like that. But the P word, I could say that. But Lord, would people stop sending me messages? My head hurting. Anyway, so she said, well, I feel like you don't know what it even sounds like to hear a woman. She said something about how she felt like the one woman that he did try, because I'm like, okay, so you gay. Are we talking about the same person who has the random white girlfriend? Like, I'm confused. Y'all let me know in the comment section. I feel like I'm off as far as that is concerned. So he said, well, yeah, you're right. She didn't scream loud enough. And then I could have swore she said something about old girl. And so he was like, well, actually she does scream really loud or whatever. And I was like, what? So anyway, this dude enters the room and wants to know an update on the project that she's supposed to be working on, trying to secure these celebrities for these random movies that he's trying to put out that are basically trash, garbage, all that good stuff. And when she's like, no, I don't think this person is going to be into that. And it just gets to the point where he kind of swoops in and saves the day. And he was like, well, maybe Cardi B would be interested in this, because it's kind of on a vulgar type of level. And so he was like, what, are you serious? He was like, yeah, I'm friends with somebody, Pilates instructor or somebody that works with her or whatever. And so he was all here for it. They went out the door, high-fiving and some more. I was like, Lord. So anyway, Nia is in her yoga class, and she's stretching somebody out, and I saw in the cast list that somebody in particular is going to be in it, and I'm like, he ain't going to be in it but for a few episodes, so okay, what is he supposed to do? He's in here early on, and it's Big Sean. I don't know what his name is on here, I forgot, but anyway, she was stretching him out, and I was like, what is going on? So she was finishing up the class, and then he basically asked her out and wanted her to meet him somewhere at 8 o'clock. And so she was like, well, you're going to have to give me your number. Of course I'll meet up with you. You're going to have to give me your number so that, we can talk or whatever. And he was like, I don't have a cell phone. And he was just all about, I don't do that. I don't see the point of that. I think that takes away the personal connection that we really should be having with one another. And she feels like that's super weird and all that. So anyway, y'all, he fine, like in real life. Big Sean is fine. I'm just not here for how him and old girl got together. Y'all know the girl. I never know how to say her name because I don't listen to her like that. She the one who everybody all of a sudden started living to her when she said, but you gotta eat the booty like groceries. And I was like, why is y'all living for her? Because she said that. But okay, who am I? Anyway, I digress. So she's gonna go on that date because he fine and want to see what he's all about. And he just made a point to be like, well, I'm gonna be the only person. He said that he's gonna be the only person there, that the only black person there that has on moccasins. So he went on ahead and went on about his business, y'all. So anyway, Ida ended up asking, why does Hattie, actually talking to her. She was like, why do you always ask for something and then you apologize for it? And she was just not here for that. Like, because she really will say and speak her mind, and then she'll be like, you know what, I'm sorry, whatever, whatever, whatever. And it's like, in all honesty, a lot of us are kind of used to that because you don't want to overstep. You want to keep your job, and you don't want somebody to be like, well, they ain't on my team, and I feel like they're not going to be loyal because they don't feel the way I feel about this. And I feel like that's why she does it. So she basically was telling her that she needs to stop doing that. So anyway, in the midst of her reading her about how she decides to backpedal on the things that she says, basically, and kind of be, oxymoron, so to speak, at times, she ended up asking someone to bring in some sketches that were supposed to be sent over somewhere else. So anyway, she was like, I need you to take this over to the art department. She doesn't know where it is. She asked this girl, Courtney, where it is. And so she was like, need a map. And I'm like, okay, why do you keep acting so snooty? Like, she really has been acting snooty, y'all. So anyway, she gets this big map, and I think she eventually finds where the place is. Well, no, she don't even really find it. She's in the middle of finding it. And then somebody texts her, I think it's Courtney, and she was like, Ida wants you to sit in on this meeting that she's going to have because she wants you to take notes. She's having this meeting now. I think she's going to have some kind of phone meeting. And she over here looking like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So she got to hurry up and get back over there. She already don't know where she at. Those theater lots are ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous. So she over here trying to figure out where she going. And then she got to figure out how she going to get back to where she's supposed to be at. Y'all, when she finally made it back, she stood at the door and kind of like made her presence known. And Ida B politely hit this button up under her desk that closes the door. And she looking at her like, dang. And I'm like, girl, you can't win for losing. So y'all, anyway, we end up finding out when Nia and Big Sean's character meet up that he is a photographer. So she's like, how are you a photographer? How are people able to get in contact with you when they want to work with you? And he was like, I mean, I do have email and all that. He was like, I think he said, I'm not Amish, I have email. So they had a moment, and he explained to her the reason why he doesn't have a phone. And before she even met up with him, she was talking to the best friends on the phone, and they were like, girl, you need to run. What you mean he ain't got no phone? That's a setup. He gonna kill you, all this other stuff. And Hattie actually got caught because she was taking personal calls while she was on the clock. So that was another strike. Why you keep getting caught by the boss slipping? Like, I think this literally is her first day still. So anyway, they get off the phone, and she ends up going on the date later on that night, and they met up. And like I said, he was explaining to her the reason why he doesn't have all this stuff. And he was like, look, I want to be in the moment, and that's why. And he gave her an example, and he was like, look up at the sky, look at the stars. She looked at the stars, and he was like, now hold your phone up and take a picture of it. Look at it through your phone. Can't you see it looks different? And so she was like, yeah, I get it, but I'm trying to understand, how you're able to do that, and you're a photographer. And he was just like, look, I live in the moment. So they ended up having a moment, and when they were about to kiss, she gets a text message from one of the friends asking if she's still alive. And he looking like, see, this is why. Like, he really looking like, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. We can't even live in the moment because your phone going off. You see what I mean? You just proved my point. Like, he did all, like, his body language completely expressed exactly what he just was explaining to her. And he really was looking like, see, this is what I'm talking about. So she ended up texting whoever back. It's like, yeah, or whatever. So y'all, anyway, despite all that, they end up still having a good night. So anyway, y'all, Marie is like in this store talking to her man, Chuck, that's his name. And for some reason they're talking about kids, and he's like, well, I've decided that we don't need to have an even number of kids. I think 3 is fine. I think we should do 3 because it doesn't make sense to just have even kids. That's boring. That's normal. I'm like, what are you talking? Like, y'all, I don't know. I ain't here for him. He's so square and boring, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. He corny or something. Like, something ain't all the way there, and I don't know what it is, and I ain't here for it. But I don't know. Maybe he putting on airs in some way. I don't know what it is. Hopefully it comes out soon because it's getting on my nerves as of right now, and I ain't here for it. Y'all, her mama called while they were in the middle of discussing that, and she over here looking like, where the money at though? When you gonna run me that money? And then he realizes that she's on the phone with her mama, and he was like, hey, how you doing? All this other stuff. And then he was like, look, you do know that I know the producer of You Only Fix My Life, and I would call him with the quickness and all this other stuff. And eventually Marie took the phone back from him and was like, look, I'll send you half the money now and I'll send you the other half later. So she was like, thank you. And it's sad that he was even like, you gonna have to stop doing that. You know your mama got a problem. And so she's like, I know. And I feel like that is just something that people do that come from a broken situation with their parents. And it's like the only way they feel like they can have that connection with their parent is if they give into their parents' vices. And it's just sick and crazy to me. And a lot of these parents, I feel like even though it's an addiction and an illness, sickness and all that stuff, a lot of times I feel like they know exactly what they're doing, because they know they're manipulating the situation. They know they're manipulating their child. And even though these people are clearly grown, she's 20 something, she knows she's manipulating her child. And I'm like, girl, you know you're wrong. All because she love you. Like, I hate that. I hate to see people be done like that. So anyway, y'all, the coworker Courtney is hating, and we find this out because Hattie went into, I guess, Ida B's office, and she had all these awards from the different things that she's won from the different shows that she wrote for that are hers and all this other stuff. And so old girl Courtney come in and read her. It's like, you over here aspiring to win an award from something like this? I mean, she really was reading, and she was like, I mean, yeah, that is my dream. I want to do that. I like that movie. I like that show. So anyway, they get to the point where everything seems to be going okay. Courtney leaves the room, and the white girl come in, and she was like, look, I'm just going to go ahead and give you this tea. Courtney is hating on you because Ida B gave you her job last minute because she said, well, I'm not going to give you this job. I know you want this job. You applied for this job, but I'm not going to give it to you because somebody came along who needed it more than you did. And so she been salty ever since then. So that's why she be acting the way she act. Because I thought she was cool at first, and then every time I look up, she in her feelings. And I'm like, why is she talking sideways to this girl? Like, was it crabs in a barrel syndrome? I didn't know what it was. But she mad because essentially Hattie came out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere, and got this job. And this girl actually put in an application and all this stuff for her. And she's already in-house. She already know what everybody want and all this other stuff. And she has dreams and aspirations as well. So she feel like she swooped in and she doing the most. So anyway, y'all, Big Sean and Nia, they are concluding their date. And so Nia's like, man, I really wish you had a phone so I could text you all nasty and all these things that I could do to you. And so he was like, well, I thought you said you were celibate. And so she was like, I am. I mean, I can still do those things without having sex with you. And he was like, well, don't talk about it, be about it. And he left. So I was like, oh, y'all doing the most. So then, end of the episode is here, y'all. Y'all, it's been a long day. And Hattie is finally at the house. And Chuck, and I guess Marie, unless he cheating, is having wild sex, and she's hearing it. And right when she like, really, this is what I gotta do, this is what I gotta deal with tonight, Lorraine, the woman who is straight, texted her and was like, you gonna come through? And so she was like, yeah, I'm on my way, y'all. She's so tired that before she could even hardly try to stand up, she done passed out. Like, she is dead to the world at this point. She is dead to the world. So she tired of her spirit. I'm like, oh, you done passed out. You so tired. That's how I know. That's how I've always known that I'm dog tired. When I come home and I have all these plans and stuff I want to do, I will sit down and I will go to sleep. Anyway, y'all, that was the episode. I hope that y'all enjoyed this review. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. If you plan on watching the show, what you think about it so far. So far, so good for me. It kept my attention, so I plan on continuing to review this. So hopefully y'all are enjoying it, and I'll keep pumping it out there if y'all want it. Anyway, y'all have a good one, and I'll see y'all later.